The Council of Kangs saw themselves as the ultimate apex of existence, infinite versions, infinite timelines. A thousand-year-old empire built on the ruins of casualty. To them, they weren't just men, they were the architects of reality. And yet, there was one version of Nathaniel Richards that they were absolutely bone-deep terrified of. Not just afraid of him like a rival general, they were terrified of him as a concept. I'm talking about He Who Remains, the Kang who didn't just conquer the multiverse, he ended it. And today we're peeling back the layers on the true hierarchy of the Kangs. We are breaking down why the Council's exile of the Conqueror was actually a desperate panic attack, how He Who Remains turned the Multiversal War into a cosmic slaughterhouse, and what Loki's ascension to the God of Stories revealed about the Kang problem. Most importantly, we're looking at how this terror paved the way for Doctor Doom to enter the fray in Avengers Doomsday. Because if the most dangerous men in history were scared of one man, what happens when a god emperor takes his place? This is Stevie, this is the Loreverse, and let's dive into this. Now, the Multiversal War was not a fair fight. Most fans imagine the Multiversal War as an endless battlefield. Billions of Kangs in purple and green armor charging at each other with laser swords. But the lore tells us something much darker. The Multiversal War wasn't just a conventional war. It was a cold war that escalated into a total reality extinction event. Every Kang, upon discovering multiversal travel, followed the same pattern. They found their own selves, they traded knowledge, and they inevitably tried to optimize, another word is conquer, each other. This created a feedback loop of temporal attrition. We are talking about the weapons designed to erase entire timelines from the before and the after. This is tech that could overwrite your birth before you even thought about time travel. Entire universes weren't just battlefields, they were used as a blade of armor. But He Who Remains didn't play that game. While the Council was busy trying to expand their borders, He Who Remains realized a fundamental truth of the multiverse. The truth is that quantity is a weakness. He didn't try to outfight them, he simplified the equation. He realized that you don't win a war of infinity by having more soldiers, you win it by reducing the infinities to zero. And because of that reason, He Who Remains was very different. And every Kang we met in the Council, from Immortus to Ramata, they believed they were destined to rule everything. But He Who Remains was different. He believed that destiny was a liability. So he stopped being a conqueror and he became a gardener. And he stopped looking for new worlds to own. And he started mapping the probability of Kang. He identified the exact chronal nodes where a rival Kang would be born. And then he did the unthinkable. He weaponized Alioth. And in the lore, Alioth isn't just a big cloud. It's a living tempest that consumes time and space. He Who Remains harnessed a literal cosmic garbage disposal and used it to eat every single version of himself that didn't fit into his sacred timeline. And the Council didn't just hate him, they feared him because he wasn't playing for power, he was playing for silence. He was the only Kang who was willing to commit self-genocide on a multiversal scale to ensure he was the only one left standing. In Quantumania, we learned that the Council exiled the Conqueror variant to the quantum realm. Many fans think that this was because he was the bad Kang, but if you look at the subtext, the Council was panicking. They saw the Conqueror becoming exactly like He Who Remains. They saw him starting to prune, starting to delete timelines, and starting to clear the board. Exiling a Kang wasn't an act of mercy, it was containment. The Council believed that if they could trap the active threats in the quantum realm, they could keep their messy, chaotic multiverse alive. But they forgot one thing: time is his greatest weapon. So while the Council was posturing in their stadium, He Who Remains was sitting at the end of time, watching them like a biologist looks at bacteria in a petri dish. He didn't need to fight them, he just had to wait for them to make a mistake. And when they did, he didn't just exile them, he deleted their entire existence and turned them into the TVA's red lines. Now, when we go to Loki, he reveals the truth about He Who Remains, because Loki season 2 gave us the ultimate lore bomb, right? The temporal loom. And the loom wasn't built to scale the multiverse, it was built to refine it. So He Who Remains revealed that his sacred timeline was a failsafe. And if the multiverse expanded too much, the loom would melt down and delete everything except the sacred timeline. And this proves why the Council was terrified. He Who Remains had built a dead man switch for reality. So he wasn't lying to Sylvie. He was telling her, if you kill me, the Council comes back. And when they come back, they will burn everything until there is nothing left but war. And He Who Remains' true power wasn't his tech, it was his patience. He let himself die because he knew that the story always repeats. He knew that the chaos of the Council was a self-correcting problem. And because eventually someone always comes along to prune the weeds. He just didn't expect that person to be a Loki. We saw the Council in Quantumania, they were laughing and cheering. They looked like they had won. But in Loreverse, we call that the Gilded Cage. They were celebrating the death of He Who Remains, but they were actually celebrating their own eventual demise. And without a referee like the TVA, the Council is biologically incapable of peace. And Mortis wants to preserve, Rama Tut wants to rule, and the Centurion wants to destroy. And the terror they felt for He Who Remains was rooted in the fact that he was the only one who could stop them from being themselves. And now that he's gone, they are free to restart the Multiversal War. But the irony is they aren't restarting a war they can win. They are restarting a war that leaves the door wide open for a much more disciplined, much more dangerous threat. And this is where Dr. Doom enters the situation. Because Dr. Doom doesn't fight variants like Kang does. Doom doesn't care about infinite versions of himself. Doom believes there's only one Doom. And if Doom enters a multiverse that has been tenderized by constant Kang warfare, he doesn't want to outmuscle them. He is going to do what He Who Remains did, but without the mercy of a sacred timeline. Avengers Doomsday is looking like we are going to see a possible transition from the chaos of Kangs to the Order of Doom. And I believe that Doom will see the Kangs as failed gods. And he's possibly going to see their bickering as a waste of cosmic energy. And where He Who Remains used a loom, Dr. Doom will use a throne. And Dr. Doom doesn't need to prune timelines. He's going to harvest them. He's going to take the incursion energy that the Kangs created and use it to build a battle world. And this is why the Kang era had to end, because the Kangs were too busy fighting each other to realize they were just building the foundation for Doom's empire. And here is the Doomsday theory, right? Dr. Doom doesn't kill the Kangs with a blast of magic. He kills them with logic. So by the time Avengers Doomsday hits, the multiverse is going to be collapsing under its own weight by incursions, and Doom is going to present himself as the only solution. And he will likely target the core King variant at the source and he's going to do that by erasing the concept of the Richards bloodline from his battle world. And Doom effectively will delete every Kang variant in one move. So something He Who Remains was too afraid to do because he was still attached to his own existence, Dr. Doom has no such attachment. He's willing to rewrite the rules of the universe so that Kang never even happened. Now, the Council of Kangs weren't scared of He Who Remains because he was evil. They were scared because he was right. He proved that in the multiverse of infinite choices, the only way to survive is to stop choosing. He proved that infinity is just another word for chaos. And now that the sacred timeline is gone, the loom is gone. The god of stories is holding the branches together, aka Loki, but the question is for how long? The council is back, but they are already obsolete. Because while they were fighting over who gets to rule the past, Dr. Doom has already claimed the future. But I want to know you guys' thoughts. Do you think the Council of Kangs will even put up a fight against Doom? Or will they be his first casualties in Avengers Doomsday? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for spending some time watching this Loreverse video, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow. Stay crispy and peace out.